row 1, well, I will say my data frame, and this time I'm going to use the open and close square braces. Yeah, it takes two parameters. The first parameter is going to be the row that I want to access. I want to access row 1. And the second parameter is, well, actually let's say I want to access the value on row 1, column 1. Okay, in other words, this 7 is what I'm looking for. So I'm going to say it's on row 1, column 1. That should give me a 7, which it does. Let's say I want to access the value that's on row 4, column 1, which should give us a 10. Okay, row 4, column 1 should give us a 10. So row 4, column 1 should give us a 10. And you can see that that's what it gives us. If I just want to access everything in row 1, okay, well, I'll say my data frame. I specify row 1, but I don't put any value in for the column. Okay, so in which case what it's going to do is it's going to return all values in row 1 for me. Okay, so when I hit that, you can see it gives me, oh, there you go, 7 and 3. Okay, if I want to access all the values in row 4, okay, well, I'd say my data frame. Okay, in this case I'm going to say row 4. I'm not going to specify a column number, so it's going to return all column values on row 4. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit return here, and you can see we get 10 and 1, which are the values that we have up here. Other things that we can do with the data frames is, I suppose, we could take things out of the data frames. Actually, let's check the dimensions of this particular structure. How many rows are there? Well, there's 5 rows and there's 2 columns. Okay, so let's say dim for dimension. Okay, and I'm going to pass in my data frame. Okay, so I'm actually asking, can you tell me the dimension of this particular structure? Can you tell me the dimension of this data frame? Can you tell me how many rows are in this data frame and how many columns? So let's hit return, and you can actually see it's a 5 by 2 structure. There's 5 rows and 2 columns. Okay, so that's actually after creating our data frame for us. Yeah, not our data frame, that's giving us the dimensions of it. What else might we want to do at some other stage? Okay, I've got my data frame. It has maths tutorials. It has English tutorials. Maybe I want to add in new columns. Okay, so what I could do is maybe the new column that I want to add in is maths exam grades. Yeah. Okay, so let me say my data frame $, and this time I'm going to give this new column a name. So I'm going to say maths exam grades. Okay, and what I'm going to pass in is I'm going to say, will you update my data frame with a column called maths exam grades, and will you put the values in, the vector, okay, will you put the vector in, let's say C, there should be 5 values because there's 5 rows, so let's say 56%, 54%, let's say 78%, let's say 65%, and let's say 92%, okay? So what that should do is it should update my data frame with maths exam grades. Let's put in some English exam grades. Okay, so let's say we have my data frame $. I'm creating a new variable, or I'm creating a new column in this new vector in this particular data frame, and I'm going to call it English exam grades. Okay, and what I'm going to put in here is I'm going to put in let's say the values, let's say for argument's sake we get 87, let's say we have 76, let's say we have 34, let's say we have 38, and let's say we have a value of let's say we have a value of 25. They're the English exam grades. Okay, and they're going to go in here. So I've just created another column. Okay, did we create the columns? Not too sure. Let's call my data frame again, and let's see what it actually looks like now after that particular update, after them 2 update operations. So what we get is, well, there you go. You can actually see that we've created our maths exam grades and we've created our English exam grades here. Okay. Let's say we want to do something else. Okay. Let's just, although I'm dealing with data frames, let's say if I want to do a plot. I want to do a plot of, let's say, the number of tutorials attended against the number of maths tutorials attended against the number of, let's say, your maths exam score. Now what I'm going to use ggplot, okay? So I'm just going to use ggplot, okay? What I'm going to pass in is the data set or the data frame where we're going to be taking the values from. It's called my data frame, okay? So my data frame goes in here. That's the first parameter. Actually, when we call ggplot, the first parameter that we're going to pass in is always the data frame. Yeah, I'd like to, I suppose, define the x and the y-axis. I just want to do a scatter plot. So what I'm going to say is the aesthetics. Okay, the aesthetics. The x-axis should be the math tutorials. Isn't that right? It should be the maths tutorials. Okay. And the y-axis should be the, let's say, the y-axis should be equal to the maths exam grades, okay? So the y-axis should be that, okay? And what I'm just going to say is, actually I want it to be plotted as points, okay? So I'm just going to say geom points, okay? You'll see I have another set of videos that deal with ggplot and how to actually build and how to layer and stack, let's say, frames to create plots. But we're just going to use geom points here to create this particular plot. So I'm going to hit return on that. And what does it say here? Could not find. Oh, sorry, it's a geom point. Okay, geom point. I hit return, and we're getting nothing now. Object math tutorials is not found. Actually, I think I spelled them wrong. So let me just actually have a look at my data set. Sorry, my data frame. So it's maths tutorials, not math tutorials, okay? And it's maths exam grades. So I spelled them wrong. So let me go back up here. This should be maths tutorials